Hello, Nick. I thought I'd put together a video for the Altion Law website, given that the theme is quite different to Genesis. So I thought try and cover all the questions that you have in this video. So starting with the menu. So this is the live site. Um, and as you can see, what they've done is you've got your submenus, and they haven't got any sub menus, so menus coming off the sub menus. Instead, they're relying on the sidebar navigation. So I've just shown you how they've done it, and then you can see the changes that I have made. And again, the header is sticky, and the problem with a sticky header is that it limits the available space on the screen. So that's the downside of having a sticky header. Okay, so this is the development site. So what I've done is I wasn't sure if you wanted to keep the sticky header or not. So this is my workaround. So keeping the sticky header. What I've done is, because some of these titles are so huge, I've made the text a bit smaller and the buttons wider, the menu submenu wider, so that it takes up less space. And I've disabled the sub menus so that, just like the live site, there's nothing coming off each of these. So you would then be reliant, like on the live site, you'd be reliant on the sidebar menu which you have down the side here. And then on mobile, you go to mobile, you'll see on the mobile menu that the full list of submenus is all there. You don't have the sticky header on the on the mobile, so it's not an issue there. Okay. So in the back end, what I've had to do is, if you go into menus, so these are the main submenus. So you've got commercial advice and support. So there's two. So you've got one, that this one, the bottom one, is for mobile. And if you click on the you'll see the CSS there, mobile, the class, and then for the one for desktop, that's the desktop one doesn't have any submenus, only the mobile one. So it's one way of getting around it, so that the menu isn't too long for the screen. Otherwise, I could put it all back and get rid of the sticky header, and then it's not an issue. And then maybe at a later time, I'm not sure how the mega menu would work. Probably would want, what we could do is when the site is live, create a staging site, and then I could experiment with the mega menu and see how that would work, if that's better or not. Okay, so that's how that works. The next thing is the slider. So the page builder is called Fusion, and this thing at the top here says COVID-19. This is actually a slide, although there's only one, so that it doesn't act like a slide. It's just giving the single message about the COVID-19 update, and so it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't move, but that does require the Fusion plugin, which is this. For this to work, the Fusion slider to work, you require the Fusion slider plugin, which then relates to this piece here. If you don't want this, what you do is you just go into edit page. I've disabled it. Well, it was only on a few pages. Other pages had a slider, but it was just a picture, and I've disabled those. So you'll notice right at the very bottom page, you got the Fusion page options, and then you got your slider, and then you can pick. So you got Fusion slider, and then you select your slide. So this is the COVID-19 slide that's been picked. You can select other slides. There's a whole lot of different slides that they have. So the COVID-19 one is for the message. So if you didn't want that, you would just go there, no slider. And if you don't want any of the slides, I can just remove the plugin if that's the case, if you're not going to use it. I'm not so sure it would add that much to the page speed, given that there's only one slide and it's not moving. So I don't think it would be a big issue from that perspective. Okay. The other thing is, so on when I was going through the site, so most of these, not all the internal links, but most of the internal links, like I said, was directed to default.asp. So I'm thinking that the way it may have been on a Microsoft server, given the ASP, which would stand for Active Server Pages, which would be indicated Microsoft server, which would is why all the internal links had Active Server Pages on them. And then instead of changing them, it looks like they've just basically done a redirection for those that hadn't been changed over. It was a bit of a mix. Some of them had changed, some of them hadn't changed, and was proper WordPress for SEO format. And there were a few dead links that I found. So where there was a dead link, I either removed the link altogether, so there was no dead link, or I managed to figure out what page it would go to, and then I reconnected that, so there's no dead links. Okay. So you'll notice that when you click on a page and you have the page changes, it goes to very small text, and then it goes to big text. So this font here is actually 16 pixels, so it's quite big. But then when you refresh the screen, it goes small and then big. So I don't know why it's doing that. And you'll notice sometimes the text on the sidebar goes gray, and then as the page loads, it goes white. I think it might just be the theme. I've looked and I can't see what's causing that, or how to stop it. So I'm not really sure what the reason is why it does that. So these are called accordions, and these were created by the theme page builder. So having decoupled from the page builder, I have created my own. So these are all done so basically when you go in here, I'll just show you. You go to edit page. You'll see these, that's the Fusion builder. So when you see these, then you know that the page builder hasn't been activated. Otherwise it would be different. But when it's like that, you know that the page builder hasn't been activated, and you can just go in as normal and type. So those accordions are using this short code, and that can be found on the main menu under accordions. So if I go to all accordions, I've done it by page. So these are basically the titles of the page or part of the title. So that then lets you know where the short code belongs. So it's easy to track. And sometimes you'll see where it says 1 and 2 is because the short codes, the accordions have been split on that page, so they're not all together. So to do this, you basically just, you can, what I should also mention is I have put the styles to these accordions. So if you want to keep the style, the best thing to do is click on duplicate. Then it will carry over the styles. If you click on new, then you won't get any styles. Then you have to start from scratch. So the easiest way is to click on duplicate. Then when it opens up, you can then just change the title. And then you'll see here, you just click on it to open it up, put in the header that's at the top of the accordion, and then inside this is the contents for the accordion. And then if you want to add more, you just click on add, and then it adds more. If you want to subtract, you just click on the cross, and then make sure to update it. And then you go back to all accordions, and then you just copy the short code to put in the page where you want it. Okay, so so these links on the home page I create. So these are my own buttons that I made. If I click on edit page, so what I've done is to create the different columns, I've used this instead of the page builder. When you click on this, it allows you to split the page up, and you'll see the short codes. So that's the first half, and this is the second half. And then these are the links. And if you click on one of these, and then you go to text, I highlight it. You see if you highlight it. If you highlight the front and then you click on text, then you can see where you are. You'll see there's the class. So that, sorry, not that class, sorry. There we go. So I've called it default button H. So that's the home page buttons. This class here is to split them out, and so that it controls them for the different screen sizes. Okay. You can see how it changed color there when it loads. It goes from light gray to white. So for me to do this, this is all done. The contact details, the telephone number, and the email under the contact us button. So this contact us button doesn't really exist. It is dynamically generated when you. So haven't quite figured out where it's generated, but it's dynamically generated anyway in the PHP. So the only way I could get this telephone to go underneath it is by adding it through the CSS. That's why you can't make, it's not a link, you can't click on it but you can see it there. Okay, so this thing at the bottom here, because this is linked, the Solicitors Regulation Authority is linked through the domain, so this should activate when on the proper domain. So at the moment it's not, because the domain's different. And if I go to Contact Us page, you'll see on the Contact Us page at the bottom here, there's an error. So that is the reCAPTCHA, and that's been created because we're on a different domain. So this reCAPTCHA is the Google reCAPTCHA and is linked to the domain. So that should work when it's live. Okay, so this form is using the contact form 7, which is linked to this Google reCAPTCHA. If you go to downloads, so this is where it gets a bit more involved. So these I've recreated these using the default gallery. So if I click on Edit Page, you'll see there that's the shortcode for the gallery. So you need to click on Visual, and then click on the pencil to edit it. So each one of these is just an image that I've added to the gallery, and then at the bottom here you've got the code for the link. And so how this works is this activates a pop-up, which works with basically when someone downloads it, they then have to give their email address or something, and that goes through MailChimp. And so all of these work because they do not require the reCAPTCHA. And so these links can actually be anything you want. The main thing is to trigger the pop-up. You have to make sure that this activates the pop-up. And to do that requires the class. So you'll see it says class equals bankruptcy FAQ. So that's the trigger. And if you go into the back end, into the admin, you'll see here it says pop-up maker. If you go to all pop-ups, and then you'll see, so the bottom, the first lot at the bottom, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So the first 8 at the bottom are all MailChimp, and then the rest at the top end are using contact form 7. So if you look at the bottom, like the bankruptcy FAQ, if I click, I'm just selecting which one I use. Yeah, so this one is bankruptcy FAQ. So if I go to bankruptcy FAQ and I click on edit, so that's the title there of the pop-up. This is the form. So this form is embedded from the MailChimp. You'll see MailChimp privacy settings, and then the bottom here you'll see triggers. So the trigger here is the CSS class bankruptcy FAQ. So that's all you need to make the pop-up work. And if I go to the page, and you'll see how the pop-up system works. So if I click on and you have to click on the link, click here to download. So if I click on that, you'll get the pop-up, and then you have to give your name and email address, and this will then go to MailChimp, and then you click on you agree to the privacy policy, and when you click on subscribe, then you'll instantly get the PDF then shows up, and the PDF I think is so that's the display, your theme. Yeah, I think in this case the PDF, what I've put in the PDF is in the link. So you'll see at the bottom there, the PDF is in the link, but you can't get that until you fill in the form details, and then you can open it up. Okay. So why choose us? I linked that to About Us, and so this is all done in the widgets section. So I called it main right hand side sidebar, and all the widgets are there. So About Us, so why choose us is there, and then these are all the different navigation menus. Within these navigation menus, it's a bit different to Genesis in that you can actually click on the widget options, and here you can change the colors, border size, background radius, so you can change all the style settings in here. So the redirections, if you go into settings, tools and redirection. So I haven't changed all these redirections. They're all still there, and you can see where they're being redirected to. Some of these, like I said, I found some dead links. So I either removed the dead link, or I found where it should go and changed the dead link. But I haven't touched any of these redirections. So the redirections are still working, which means potentially that there'll be where the redirection kicks in, it'll slow your site down, because every time you click on the link, you get this redirection, and you can see what these URLs were like. Quite long. They all have default.asp, which I think is active server pages, which makes me think that this might have been at one point on a Microsoft server, and then instead of updating all the links, they've just put in these redirections. So there's loads of these things. There's, as you see there, 178 redirections. So I'm not sure if some of these could possibly be removed. I haven't touched them, so I'll leave that up to you if you want to have a look at what needs to be changed there. So if we go back to the pop-ups, you'll see the top end. So these are more recent ones, and they have all they have is the shortcode, the contact form 7 shortcode. And then that's the class, the CSS class that is activating it. Again, these I haven't been able to get these to work because of the reCAPTCHA, but they should work once live. So you'll see at the bottom left here, so that's the CRM entry. So this is actually working with the contact form 7, and the other one was Flamingo, which I've removed Flamingo because it's just basically the same content, and so all the stuff from contact form 7 is coming in here through CRM entries. Yeah. So this the website uses a quite substantial theme. So they have what's called a theme option. So the theme is called Avada. So if you go into Avada theme options, and if you were to go down to typography, body typography, and this is where you would change the size of the body copy, which at the moment is quite big at 16 pixels. And the spacing between the words is 1.5, which is quite big as well. To hide the menu items, so basically there was a few things I hid because they were just crowding the menu, and I thought if they're not being used, we can just hide them. You can always bring them back if you ever wanted to, and I'm going to have to go up to dashboard. Hide. So it's called hide menu just underneath Yoast, and all this does is hide. So you at the top you've got the different types of people that would log in, so administrator, editor, etc. And then on the left hand side you've got your menu items. So you select one. So I selected portfolio, it wasn't being used, and then I just tick it for all the boxes, and then it's hidden. You can also, if you didn't want to hide the whole thing, you can select bits of it that you want to be hidden, which is these are the submenus. FAQs, I hid them. Elastic slider, which isn't being used, I hid that. And so there's quite a lot of things you can hide, and it just simplifies the admin area so that it's not so crowded. Okay. I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. So basically, if you want the sticky header, I can just leave it as is. If you rather have me display the full menu, like with Bartlett's, then I can undo the things and then remove the sticky header, and then that would also work. But as things stand at the moment, it's pretty much similar to how the live site is. The old site works in a similar manner. So I've only changed the URLs. I haven't touched the live site at all, apart from looking at it from the front end. I haven't gone into the back end at all. I've just done everything inside the WP Engine one. Okay. So if there's any other questions, let me know, and I'll pop this up and send you the link. It'll be on YouTube. Okay, thanks. Bye.